All right, we're going to talk soft skills, and I wanted to, I realized I posted this right before our webinar began, but I did a search and said Indeed, which is, like the job place in America, soft skills, Indeed soft skills. And this is the first link that popped up. So obviously this is the most popular. When I talk about soft skills, does anybody want to volunteer what you think I mean by soft skills? Anybody?
It's kind of like the mentality, more of a mentality that the customer is always right. I mean, they might not actually be right, but that's kind of like the attitude you want to have.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
Yeah. Communication, how you communicate with people, like writing skills, reading, speaking skills, how you manage things like are you an organized person, stuff like that. I guess, if I'm not wrong.
Yep. Kate, you unmuted for a second.
Yeah, I wanted to add that a person can be very skilled, but it's unreal to work with him in the group or in one company because he's, I don't know, unable to communicate or super unfriendly. And this is so important to have these soft skills when you can communicate or. Yeah.
Excellent. So, and this article, I'm going to be skipping this article a little bit, but this article mentions that soft skills are not job related. They are person related. And the place where your soft skills, whatever they are, the place where your soft skills are going to be on display and evaluated and measured is at what part of the hiring process? Any ideas? Where are they going to be able to tell what your soft skill, what you're good at?
Scotty, I'm going to say right at the beginning when you get offered the interview.
The interview. Yep.
I'm going to say just before it, like when you respond to the emails, all the way to when you first sit down and that first introduction question comes up.
Yes, absolutely. It is, like they say here, soft skills are interpersonal behavioral skills that will help you work well with other people and develop your career. Kate, I think you mentioned it beautifully because you pointed out that there are people who, regardless of their hard skills, you can be an absolute genius at something else, but what if you're a jerk to work with? So there are two directions you want to think about for soft skills. One is positive soft skills, but the other one is questionable skills. Are you good at, like Nerman said, communication or whatever? So again, this says they're personal attributes. They are related to you, the person, not you, the cybersecurity job seeker. And again, like I've said in in this mentorship program, the resume gets you your interview. The interview gets you your job. So as you're doing this, the one thing I want us to try and think about is, are there ways that you can try and bring your soft skills into focus in your resume? How do you demonstrate you're good at communication? And I don't just mean say you're good at it. I'm a good communicator. What does that mean? But be thinking about that, because for many of us, coming into the cybersecurity career field, we can't claim much in the way of experience. So we have to be, we have to show that we have other strengths that help to make sure that we are going to be a good hire. And you can't demonstrate it with experience frequently. So how do you demonstrate it otherwise? Here are, and I'm going to try and scale this up a little bit. Yeah, here are soft skills that employers said that they consider to be the most important soft skills people are they're looking for. Someone who's a problem solver. Somebody who doesn't just walk in and does what they're told. Somebody who can look at something and say, you know, there might be a better way to do this, or we're doing all of this, but did we think about doing this as well? Problem solver, effective communication skills. If you, for example, if you know what needs to be done, but like Chris mentioned, you're scared to speak about it. Oh, because all of these folks they're so big and special, and they know more than me. Who am I? If you are not able to communicate effectively at a business level, this is professional communication, you won't be successful. I shared many times about how my company, we had all of the management get together, and including the CEO of the company, and we did, you know, group communication exercises, and we failed miserably at these exercises. And I was one of the ones that failed, because there was this one exercise where you're supposed to be able to communicate what needs to be done, but you have to do it by basically interrupting somebody else, and the person directly in front of me was the CEO of the company. And I was scared to interrupt the CEO, but he was wrong. So that was part of the whole communication exercise. And after we learned that, I learned a very valuable phrase that I've used for years and years and years since then, and that is, business is business. He's the CEO of the company, and you definitely want to help make sure that the company does well. So personal egos can't get involved in business. Chris.
I have a good war story, and you were there, Scotty, when this happened. So I had a similar training experience, and the person I was talking to was a director of our group. And I was afraid to communicate what was going on. The question was, what's going on with your work and what the problems are? And I failed at this really because I was not communicating very well, because I was talking to the director, and the director had to stop the whole thing and said, Chris, this is a training session. You are allowed to say, I am wrong. He goes, any other time? Not good?
Maybe not.
Yeah, time here now? Please tell me I'm wrong. Please tell me I'm full of it. And he was like, Chris, come on, get out, get it more, keep going. But yep. Similar experience to you.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Couple more. Self-direction and drive. Now, think about it from a resume perspective. How do you show that? How do you show self-direction and drive? Now, I don't have all the answers, but I want you to be thinking about this. In your resume, if you don't have those hard skills, how do you develop and then emphasize, showcase those soft skills, those things that make you somebody that a prospective employer will look at and say, I can work with that person? That in itself could be enough to get you your job. Adaptability and flexibility. When things go on, I'm going to give one example. When I was in the Pentagon, I was there on 9/11, and obviously it was a very disruptive activity. I didn't get to go back to my office for a year. I couldn't go back into that space. We went in once for 10 minutes so that we could pick up, our purses or our jackets or whatever, briefcases. But other than that, everything has to be left, and they destroyed it. But the adaptability and flexibility, my supervisor never went back into the Pentagon. She said, nope, I'm not doing it. I can't. I cannot go there. And so she literally transferred to another agency somewhere else and finished her career out there because she was afraid somehow or another it gave her unease to go back into the Pentagon. So adaptability, it just rattled her chain. She's like, nope, I can't do it. And she never went back into the Pentagon. So adaptability and flexibility. Now, obviously, that was a very traumatic event. People died during that event. And they literally died a couple 100 feet around the corner from me. But we still had to go to work the next day. Donald Rumsfeld went on TV and said, we're going to be back at work tomorrow. So we all put our painter's masks on and went back to work, even though the hallways were still smoky and, whatever. So just something to think about. There are good and bad soft skills. Here are some other ones. And I want to talk about one in particular here, and that is dependability. Now, how would you describe dependability? And think about it in reference to your resume. If I'm looking at your resume, how can I see that you're dependable? Thoughts? Okay, I will give you an example. When I look at a resume and I see that this applicant has had 7 different jobs in 2 years, that does not convey dependability to me. Now, they may be moving up, or they may have had something where they had to relocate or whatever. So in every interview, I look at the number of times they have had different jobs in a short period of time, 1 or 2 years, and I ask them about it. It says that you had 7 different jobs in 2 years. Can you speak to that? What I'm trying to find is, was there a reason that caused you to have to move? Otherwise, it tells me, as I'm looking at this, that in 6 months you're going to be gone anyway. So why would I want to hire you? Dependability is something that you build by doing things continuously over time. You may not be the best X, Y, or Z analyst, but you're going to be there tomorrow. And that in itself says a lot. I will give one more war story, and I'm not going to mention his name. But in our organization, we were just standing up an SOC, Security Operations Center. And it was being stocked mostly with contractors, and they were mostly with one company. The project manager for that group sat in the office, was side by side with the branch chief, and they were trying to, make things happen, develop this, establish this, put together a robust security operations center when a year ago there was none. So they were building this SOC. And this guy was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I used to walk up to his office about, I'd say 2 or 3 times a week just to talk to him. just to say, how's it going? I read about this. How about this? Are we doing things on this? And I had nothing to do with his job. I was help desk, but I was the help desk program manager. I managed 115 people in the help desk. And so I would just go up and talk security stuff because it was interesting to me. And this guy was lots of fun to talk to, had wonderful insight. There were times where I'd say, I'm trying to get the syntax of this query correct. And he'd say, I see what you're doing. Do this. Bam. And he made things work. So he was very valuable to both the people in the SOC and to me in the help desk, service desk, it's called these days. But one day, and I mean, it occurred over the course of one day, he was gone. And he wasn't answering his email. He wasn't answering his phone. I'd go up to visit and he wouldn't be there. And after a while, I turned to the branch chief and said, is this guy at a training or whatever? And they said, no, he just didn't come to work one day. He bowed out of his position. And oh, by the way, because he was the project manager, they had to rehire the entire team because this guy defaulted on his responsibility. I don't know if it was that he got hit by a truck. I don't know if I'm speculating, but I think it was because he got so frustrated at some of the things that he was not able to accomplish that it just wore him out to the point where he said, forget it. I'm not going to do it. And oh, by the way, all of the people that worked for him lost their jobs as well. And it was extremely disruptive because they had to find a new contractor on short notice to staff this SOC. So when we talk about dependability here, we're talking about your ability to be there day after day, week after week, month after month. And I'm going to give my example right here. Mr. Chris Oxford has been absolutely dependable and reliable because he's here every Saturday. And he's been here every Saturday for hundreds of weeks. That is dependability. There are times where I'll wake up and maybe I'm sick. And I'll say, Chris, can you take today? And he'll say, sure. There are times where, admittedly, he'll get up and he'll be sick or have something scheduled. But he communicates in advance and says, I'm not going to be there. Gotcha. So I don't watch for him. Dependability includes communication skills. Don't just not show up. There were times when we were first getting started, the mentees would say things like, I'm not going to make it Saturday. Excellent. Thank you. I won't watch for you. That's part of learning how to communicate business-wise, because this is, if you want to think about it, this is a precursor to your employment. This is the practice arena. This is the sandbox where you get to make your mistakes and it doesn't cost you your job or your career. So this is where we learn to develop soft skills. This is where we learn to develop how to communicate with others. And this is where, over time, you can demonstrate how you're doing. How you're doing. I pulled up this thing for the incident response team, and I want you to take a look at it. We've had certain people that have participated in the incident response team and have been quite durable over time, somebody that you can sort of establish an expectation that they're going to be there tomorrow. But if you look at it also, there are others that are still learning, that maybe it hasn't worked out for them or whatever. But if you want to be known as someone who is going to be dependable, reliable, consistent in what you're doing, you want to show something like what my entry shows. Every month, I've done something. Every time there is an opportunity, I have been there. And I'm not trying to brag. Please don't think that. And I'm not saying you get this after 30 years. It's not. It's part of what they call work ethic. And as soon as you start applying yourself toward anything, including cybersecurity, your work ethic will show. So you want to develop your work ethic while you're at home. You learn to make your bed when you wake up in the morning. You learn to leave your house without leaving dirty dishes in the sink. You vacuum your house once a week or whatever. Those are the habits that you develop that turn into your personal habits, which means your work ethic. One last example, and then I'll open it up for a minute or two until we finish. Why is it that people who have been in the military are so desirable to employers? There are many, and I will say many employers that say, if you've been in the military, I already know how you're going to operate. Chris.
Can a mentor answer, or can a mentee? Do you want a mentee to answer?
No, it doesn't matter.
If that person's been in the military for a very long time, the people know that they have a structured routine and schedule nonstop for that period of time. So I'll put myself in the hiring manager's shoe. If I see a military veteran of 25 years on that resume, I can know that he or she will be reliable because they've been routine, schedule, nonstop for that many number of years. And I would probably want to know what other skills they have beforehand,
sure,
what they bring to the table. But that's the part I would get from their soft skills is the fact that their life was X number of 25, let's say 25 years of that routine and that schedule. That's reliability in my book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Think about this. I went through basic training for the U.S. Air Force way back in 1976. And they would wake us up at 5 a.m. and by 5:10 a.m. we had to be standing on the parade ground in uniform ready for inspection. 10 minutes. And oh, by the way, when those lights turned on and the drill instructor started yelling in the area, that's when the clock began. They didn't wake you up at 4:59. They woke you up at 5 o'clock, and they weren't looking for you at 5:11. So you learn that, for example, 8 a.m. means 8 a.m. A lot of people don't think about it, but if you consistently show up for work late, people start to notice. If you consistently show up to work a little early so that you're ready to go right on time, people notice. And in your resume, you can demonstrate some of those things by volunteering. You're doing things because you want to, not because you have to. You can point out that you've been doing things for a long period of time. That demonstrates consistency. And that shows that you will stick to something, not just when you think it's fun. So all of those things can become part of your resume, but you need to develop those. Those are personal skills. it's important to me that I'm here on time every Saturday for you guys. It's important. Okay, all right. Appreciate that. So, any questions, any comments?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So yeah, I mean, I was in military too, but not U.S. military, of course. I was serving in Serbian military. I joined military when I was 18 years old. So can I still put that on my resume here?
It is possible to do so, but I don't put my military in there because it was 40 some odd years ago. But they will ask things like, "Are you a veteran?" And you can say, "Yes, I'm a veteran of whatever military you belong to."
So I can say that. Yeah, I see that question all the time in application. Only one application I had where they ask like, "Did you serve like in military in any other country, including the U.S.?" There was only one application, and I was able to put that there. But all of those applications, they're asking like about U.S. military, and I never put anything because I never served in U.S. military.
Yeah, that's true. The United States. I'm sorry, Kate and Nerman, you guys can vouch for this. The U.S. is very, very focused on the United States only. How many Americans do you know more than one language? Very few. So, U.S. has a bias toward the United States automatically. Chris.
Is Kate going to talk before me? Because I thought you said Kate was going to talk. No.
No. I was just pointing out Kate and Nerman are probably aware of this.
Kate Nerman,
bias.
This is strictly Christopher Oxford opinion, not CS-Sensei opinion. I'm going to put that disclaimer there. If the application, depending on what the application says, if it's asking you, do you have any other military service, including other countries? I say with the application, be honest on the application, but don't be afraid to have on your resume that you have that military service. So on your resume, say, I am in the military service with Serbia, and have your dots below what you did that's related to the position. But on the application, if it asks you, have you served in the military? If it's in the United States, assume United States and say no. If they say, hey, have you served in the military service, including international military service? That's when you sit there and be honest and say, yep, I did, and go ahead and do it that way. But just because you say no on the U.S. military does not preclude you from putting on the resume, I've served in the Serbian military.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
But here's Oxford opinion, not CS-Sensei opinion.
Yeah, I'm actually doing. I didn't put it on my resume, but yeah, as I said, there was only one application asking, and I immediately put it and I explained. But yeah, most of those applications, like you said, like it's asking about U.S. military, so you can tell. Like, and so I always put no, but yeah, I will probably put that on my resume at least. Just mention.
Very good. Okay. Last chance. Anybody? All right. Excellent.
I have one more question. Yeah, sorry. I have one more question. I was looking for this. So I don't know. I mean, this is question for everyone. Maybe you guys can help me. So listening all those podcasts, reading news, attending webinars. I heard many people like doing like vulnerability tests, like on some websites, applications, softwares, and when they find the vulnerability, they report to that company. Like, let's say someone was testing some Microsoft product and the person found some bug or something, and they reported to Microsoft. So how they do that? I heard many stores that people are doing that, but I mean, I cannot just go there and do pen testing on someone's website because I don't have permission. So how do you do that? So,
I think that deserves an entire session, Nerman. The most important thing is to remember that without permission, even if you do something for the best intentions, you can go to jail.
Yeah, I know. That's why I would never do something like that. That's why I'm asking.
Right.
Like I heard and I was thinking is there some way to you just register somewhere and they know who you are and they give you permission okay, you just you can play you do whatever you want. If you find something, let us know. But I was Googling and I couldn't find anything, but I heard
Chris,
people doing
Chris just put a couple into the chat.
Oh, okay.
That you can start with.
And HackerOne. HackerOne, my personal experience, is probably what you're looking for, Nerman. They have a list of companies that participate into the bug bounty part, and they will say, hey, this is open. Register here. You register. They give you the rules of engagement. Go right to it from there. One more group, and we can go, Scotty, or you can. Okay. I will put it there. And this Jerry has talked about this one for those who want to learn about more.
Are you typing?
Yeah, I just put a link right there. This is TCM Academy, the Cyber Mentor. He has a bug bounty course. I will highly suggest that you do it through Udemy if you want it very cheap. But if you want to, I also recommend doing the full price one too, and doing that if you want to learn more about that. But HackerOne definitely has a training on how to do it. HackerOne is what you're looking for, Nerman, though, because that lists the companies. BugCrowd's the same thing. They'll list all the companies. You'll say, yep, I want to do that one. They'll give you the rules of engagement, and you go right to it.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is what I was looking
for. In short, do you know what a bug bounty is? That's a company that will pay you to find their vulnerabilities. Yeah. IBM, Microsoft, etc. If you find something, you just need to, be the first one to identify it to them, and they can pay you. It's called bug bounty. And the federal government does bug bounty as well.
Yeah.
You can make money.
Yeah, I'm not looking to make money, but I heard people getting some letters saying, hey, thank you for doing this, thank you for letting us know, thank you for finding this vulnerability and reporting to us. So I was looking for something like that so I can maybe put it somewhere, post on LinkedIn and say, hey, I did something good for someone and this is what I did. So kind of just build my resume and my, so
very good.
Kind of people can notice me, and that's why.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Sure thing. Okay, we are long over time. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording now, but I hope you all have a wonderful weekend.
All right, thank you. Have a good weekend.
Take care.